California is a land of contrasts, where ancient forests meet arid deserts, and wild coastlines give way to fertile valleys. Its rich biodiversity has evolved over millennia, shaped by fire, drought, and the rhythms of the seasons. But today, this delicate balance is under threat. From the quiet spread of invasive grasses that fuel devastating wildfires, to the disappearance of native flowers that once painted the hillsides, California's natural heritage is changing. In this documentary, we journey through the Santa Cruz Mountains to uncover the hidden stories of native plants and the challenges posed by invasive species.
Youch! What was that? Oh my god, Italian thistle. This is an invasive species. It freaking sucks because look how spiky it is. It's called Italian thistle because guess what? It's from like the Italy area, from the Mediterranean. So it has a similar climate, so it grows well here in California. And the main theory is that they came in contaminated hay, like hay tubes, I guess. And that's how they got here. And they spread through container ships or whatever, and trucks. And when these things dry up, they also increase the fire risk. So yeah, that's Italian thistle. It sucks. All right, here's another invasive species. This is the pampas grass from Argentina. They're pretty cool. They have this like big fluffy thing that grows on the top. And the problem about these ones is that they're just so big. Like, for scale, I'm like 7 foot, right? So this is like a big plant. And you can see it's just such a huge plant. It's really hard to get rid of. So you either have to get an excavator and like dig this thing out, or just leave it, because these things are just so big. And all of these have seeds, so they spread rapidly. You can show like how much there is over here. And this is just covers native plants up, and takes nutrients out of the soil, and is a no bueno. And also these things can catch on fires. It's pretty bad.
Here we have another invasive species called the English ivy, and it was originally brought here by colonial settlers from England for its sort of ornamental appeal, its evergreen foliage and quick growth. It can survive in both sunny and shady environments, which makes it able to grow very quickly. However, its quick growth can allow it to quickly grow over the tree trunks and tree branches, such as this one right here, and it can prevent these trees from getting the sunlight they need to perform photosynthesis. And due to its quick growth, it can also easily spread into disturbed areas, for example, after a forest fire, and which can allow it to spread even further throughout an ecosystem. And it's also, as you can see here, it can add a lot of weight to trees, which can cause trees to lose branches or just straight up fall over, especially in storms too. And that is the English ivy.
These are eucalyptus trees. You probably know them because koalas eat them, and also their eucalyptus oils are popular for their scent, right? But these are invasive species too. They were brought here to California back in the 1800s on the onset of the gold rush. The Australian settlers were like, "Hey, we need a good, fast-growing, straight lumber tree. So they brought all the seeds here and started growing them for lumber. However, lumber didn't really work out, and people tried using them for windbreaks to like protect their farms from winds. But now they're everywhere. They grow very well in our climate. They take a lot of nutrients, and if you look here, everywhere, they just drop so much stuff, just everywhere. So it covers things up, and the oils that they release in their stems and leaves also is poisonous to a degree, so it kills the plants around it. And it's just, as you can see, not much plants can grow under these big trees that are such fast growing and resilient trees. So there's the eucalyptus for you. Oh, hey, didn't see you. Look at all these plants. Look at all of this here. These are invasive plants too. These are ice plants. They're from South Africa. Isn't that crazy? They were brought here in America in the 1900s to help with erosion control along railroads, so they wouldn't like wash away or whatever. But you know, didn't really work out, and now they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. You've probably seen these everywhere, like along the entire California coast. These plants are everywhere. And these guys are succulents, so they're very drought resistant, and they can also spread very quickly through cuttings and seeds and everything. And they're just so tightly packed. As you can see, like nothing else can grow. These ice plants are everywhere, and they're horrible. What the heck? And it's very hard to remove them. Like the only thing you can do is like try to rake them up, try to do stuff. There has been like some efforts to like transform some areas into native species areas, I guess, but man, these guys are just so resilient, and they're like everywhere along the California coast. So fortunately, they're just everywhere.
We hope you found that invasive plants can be very interesting. They share several common characteristics, such as a fast rate of growth, being generalist species, and exhibiting R-selected traits. These attributes enable them to outcompete native species and disrupt native ecosystems. We also hope you found the historical aspects intriguing, as each of these plants carries a part of California's unique history. Many of these species were introduced with the hope of achieving positive outcomes, such as providing lumber, controlling erosion, or serving as ornamental plants. This highlights the importance of being cautious when introducing new species into an environment, as there may be unforeseen consequences. But while invasive species threaten the balance of nature, there's another side to California's story, one rooted in resilience, adaptation, and deep ecological history. Native plants are the foundation of California's ecosystems. They've evolved over thousands of years to thrive in its unique climate and support countless forms of life, from butterflies to birds to fungi and foxes. The native peoples of California have also incorporated these unique plants into their lifestyle for thousands of years. These species just don't belong here. They define what here is.
Fun fact time.
Hey, what's up? Fun fact. All this land used to be under the ocean over 10 million years ago. See, we have sand here from an ancient ocean, and scientists have actually found shark teeth and coral fossils that provide evidence for the fact that this used to be an ancient ocean.
Wow. Oh my god. Jesus. Hey. This is a coast live oak. It's an oak, but it's evergreen. That's why it's called a live oak. And you know the place Oakland, near us, Bay Area, you know? It was named after these oak trees. When the settlers came, it was like full of oaks, so they're like, damn, Oakland. They're identified by these like spiky leaves. See, very hard, very drought resistant. And they're also very fire resistant, obviously. You see all this burnt stuff. This was recently a fire here. But you can see this tree is alive and doing well. That's because of the thick bark. Alright? And the acorn was a staple food source for the Native Americans. These are actually poisonous, but they would rinse out the poison and they would grind it up into a flour, and they would make acorn bread, which was a staple food source. So it's a really cool tree, and you see these everywhere. So that's the Coast Live Oak for you. You wouldn't believe it, but this was once a forest. And it was burnt down in 2015. Here's a picture. Here's another picture from 2021. Isn't that crazy? And now look at it. We see a natural ecosystem process called secondary succession in full blow. Look at these shrubs and grasses and everything. This is how secondary succession works. Unlike primary succession, where primary succession starts from rocks, from nothing, from bare rock. But secondary succession starts from existing soil. So after the forest burnt down, there's like ashes and soil. And secondary succession started with grasses going on to shrubs. And then we can see over here, little trees growing. So we see this ecological process happening. And fires are a crucial part of Californian ecosystems because ashes put nutrients back in the soil and allow open spaces like this to happen, to be a thing, and flowers and things can grow for bugs, which is pretty cool.
Over here, we have a very cool plant that is actually one of the pioneer species in secondary ecological succession. So this is the sticky monkey. It is called the sticky monkey because the stems are actually pretty sticky when you touch them, and the flower actually kind of resembles a monkey. And what's cool about this is that the natives actually use this to help cure or help treat sores and burns. Hey, what's up guys? Here we have a super cool tree that is only native to a very narrow strip along the California coast. It is the coastal redwood. This species of tree has been around for 200 million years, ever since the Jurassic period. And it is one of the tallest trees in the world and has some super cool capabilities. Its very thick bark, which can be over a foot thick, provides protection against forest fires. And it also has two different kinds of leaves, one of which can perform photosynthesis and the other is for absorbing fog and the moisture within that fog. Ever since the 1850s, when over 93% of old growth redwoods were logged and caused massive deforestation for the development of the gold rush, it has been classified as officially endangered. And yeah.
These are even more redwoods, and there's something really cool over here that you should check out. Come on. This is an old growth redwood that died from a forest fire. Just look how big this tree is. Must have been thousands of years old. And if you look up, there's something cool that you may notice, that we are surrounded by a ring of redwood trees. This phenomenon is called the fairy ring. It happens when an old growth tree like this dies and its offshoots create a ring around it. Now if you come over here, we can see one of these little offshoots. This is from the original tree. So all these trees that are around here actually have the same exact genetics as the old growth tree. It's a pretty cool way that the old growth tree comes back after a fire, and how redwoods are resilient to a fire. And they also do make seeds. Let me find a cone. Here you go. That's a cone that they do make seeds. However, they're much less efficient. So maybe if you plant 1,000 seeds, you might get like 5 that sprout. All right, so here is another one of those sprouts. And like I said, the genetics are very similar to each of these trees. So that makes it so that the bio or genetic diversity of the tree is actually pretty low. So that's a good thing because the tree has very unique bark, very unique leaves that are super helpful for their survival. So having the same genetics is helpful in that regard. However, for example, if there's a pest or a disease that is harming the trees, there's a good chance that it could just wipe out all the trees because the genetics are so similar. So that's one downside of the similar genetics that occur through these offshoots. But overall, this tree is really cool, and I hope you enjoyed learning about all the super cool parts and history of this tree. As the sun sets, this video is also setting. That was not as cool.